Welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. We want to note that the meeting is being broadcast at the direction of the board on the NUSD YouTube channel. The broadcast may capture images and sounds from those in the audience. If you would like to make public comment, please see our staff members at the side table. We'll start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Do we have any students that would like to help us? Okay, do you want to come up if you'd like to help us and stand here in the middle? Okay, the board met in closed session this evening. Trustee Novato will report.
Good evening. The board met in closed session on the following items: public employee discipline, dismissal, release, information only. Conference with labor negotiators Francesca Whitcomb, Executive Director of Human Resources and Employees Organization, Novato Federation of Teachers, NFT, information only. Conference with labor negotiators Francesca Whitcomb, Executive Director of Human Resources and Employee Organization, California School Employee Association, CSEA, information only.
Thank you. I'd like to ask for an approval of this evening's agenda. Would anyone like to move to approve that? Trustee Alexander, thank you. And a second by Trustee Pickus, thank you. All those in favor? We have 7 plus 1 student trustee. Next, we have the approval of the consent agenda. Are there any items anyone would like to pull off consent? Seeing no comments, anyone like to move to approve the consent agenda?
I will move to approve.
Trustee Pickus, thank you. And a second. Trustee Mack, thank you. All those in favor? 7 plus 1 student trustee, thank you so much. Okay, we will now have announcements, and we'll start with our student trustee.
Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Trustees, Dr. Smith. NHS has been busy organizing a range of activities for school spirit and wellness, and here's what's coming up. So this week is a fun-filled Winter Spirit Week, which includes a series of themed spirit days, including yesterday was Groutfit Day, where students were wearing gray. Today was Stoplight Day, where students were wearing red, yellow, or green based on their relationship status. Adam Sandler Day is tomorrow, where everyone gets to channel their inner Adam Sandler and dress like him. Thursday is Teacher-Student Swap Day. If you're on campus, you'll see me channeling and being Mr. Blair for the day. Friday is Class Colors Day for our winter rally. This Winter Spirit Week, we have a new thing called a Spirit Point competition. Thank you to San Marin for sharing this idea with us. We now have 24 student and teacher teams, and they're earning points every day for their spirit. So they send our Instagram pictures of their spirit, and they have to tag us, and then they're earning points for their participation and creativity. First place will get lunch on us, and second will get gift cards. So follow at NHS Spirit Comp for all the fun. In conjunction with Spirit Week, we're hosting our Winter Rally, which will include a variety of fun and exciting activities, such as mattress surfing, blanket bobsledding, and our popular Finish the Lyric game. The rally will conclude with our traditional yell competition. Following the rally, we're super excited to have our winter formal this Saturday, and we're bringing back our student DJs, so we're super excited for Saturday. We're also gearing up for the Hornet Bowl, scheduled for March 14th. Similar to a Powder Puff football game, this annual event will feature the juniors versus the seniors in an exciting and competitive matchup. This week, we're holding a preparation meeting for our cheerleaders, players, coaches to start organizing everything. This Thursday, we will be taking our senior class picture for the class of 2025. All seniors are wearing their senior shirts for the photo, and we're excited to capture this memorable moment. This Thursday, come to Panera and support our junior class while supporting some sandwiches and salads at our Dine and Donate. Thanks to our partnership with Caballeros de Oro and funding from the School Field Grant, we are continuing to offer free Latin dance classes every Friday to both students and staff. This initiative promotes physical activity, cultural appreciation, and community involvement. Next week, we will begin selling Valentine's grams, a fun way for students to send sweet messages to their friends, teachers, or anyone they care about in the school community. It's a small gesture that brings a lot of joy. For our seniors, we also have another Dine and Donate planned at Italian Delight on February 7th. Something new this year is that our BSU Alliance Affinity Group has a full high school meeting on February 4th in collaboration with NHS, San Marin MO. We will be having a field trip to MO with Antoine Banks and Kels, so thank you to them for helping us connect with fellow students in different places. The Wellness Hub continues to make an impact within our school community. This month, our SWAP students are planning activities and content focused on healthy relationships for their Wellness Wednesdays. They are also beginning Mindful Ambassador training, which will help them bring mindfulness techniques to the broader school community. Our 2 tobacco use prevention education students will attend a peer educator workshop at MCOE on February 11th to train as effective peer educators. These students will later lead lessons at local elementary schools, teaching 5th graders about the risks of tobacco and vaping. The MSA program is also preparing for its upcoming Words and Music event. This will be a wonderful celebration of creativity, and we look forward to showcasing the talents of our students in a variety of performances. In athletics, we're continuing to highlight the achievements of our student athletes. Every Wednesday from now, we're featuring senior athletes on our NHS Athletics Instagram, celebrating their contributions to our sports program. Additionally, Sports Boosters will be meeting on February 10th. We are hosting a spring sports preseason meeting on February 10th, where baseball player Mike Robbins will serve as our keynote speaker, discussing mental toughness with our athletes. Save the date for March 18th and April 15th, as we have multiple games scheduled, along with food trucks, games, and community engagement activities. Outside of school, I wanted to share exciting news about the Marin Teen Girls Conference. It is a yearly conference put on by Teen Girl Ambassadors and the Marin Women's Commission for a day of empowerment and opportunity in Marin. Any interested girls should register today on marinteengirls.org. There's also a very cool wellness summit happening at UCSF on February 22nd. Interested students, middle or high schoolers, can register online as well. Thank you.
Really inspired by the energy and the appetite of our students to continue to do amazing work in our community. So thank you so much for the update. Very excited this past week to support San Marin High School with their teacher wish lists and really making sure that our teachers have what they need in the classrooms. Also really excited to be able to be joining with you in community tonight in a renewed and refreshed commitment to our schools, our values, and the students that we're here to serve. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. The past couple weeks, last week I attended the Special Ed Advisory Committee at the district office here, and we heard a really great presentation from our staff around the literacy curriculum that our students are learning, and it was really interesting to hear from the parents and community members who attended around the language that's being used in the classroom and how we might help sort of our community members and the parents, the students in those programs, understand the language that's being used in the classroom so that our parents at home can kind of be mirroring that language to support the literacy development. There was really interesting conversation happening. Also had the opportunity to visit Sinaloa last week, which was really interesting and just always great to see the great things that are happening. There's really a wonderful vibe on campus right now. Thank you.
I as well did a visit at Sinaloa with Trustee Pickus and Superintendent Smith. I also attended the Golden Bell Committee meeting, which happens once a month. The Golden Bell Awards is on May 22nd, and I think the nomination applications are going to be going out soon. So you'll see those in your emails. I also did a webinar with California School Boards Association on immigration policy and resources, and it helped me understand a little bit more on what we're doing and what they talked about. We're aligned, so that just helps me say, okay, we're in the right direction.
So for me, it's been a little bit of a challenging 8 days, and I just want to share appreciation for how many people are stepping up in a variety of ways. for different circumstances and situations that have come up. It takes a team, and I feel honored to be around such amazing and caring individuals across the district in our community. Some of the things that have happened the last couple of weeks include the District Special Education Advisory Committee meeting, and then the Employee Workforce Housing was last night. It was very interesting and helpful to get a different perspective on the housing situation in Marin County. And I also connected with Mike Sayusi about to learn more about our process for handling behavior issues in conjunction with the matrix and the one data sheet that we've created, and that was really helpful, and I look forward to the next steps.
Just two things. I attended the Employee Workforce Housing Committee meeting last night, and it was very eye-opening, not only in terms of just reinforcing what we already know, that Marin is extremely unaffordable, but really just showing how unaffordable it is and how important it is that we do what we do on the workforce housing front, and frankly, that we really need to strive to do as much as we can in terms of number of units. At least that's my takeaway, in a proper way, of course. On a more fun note, I did get to go see my first intramural basketball game between Hamilton and San Jose girls. I think it was 6th grade. It was great. Just about every one of these girls have never played basketball before, and they were on it. They're having a blast. And if this is what we can do to get these kids at a younger age to embrace a sport, embrace something to keep them busy after school, and then have an activity to do in high school, let's keep it going. So I love this stuff. Middle school activity is just so important. So.
Good evening. I attended DLAC last week, and I wanted to give a shout out to Tanya for putting on such an amazing meeting. Parents were so engaged, asking questions, love the passion, and of course, our little ones who join our meetings once in a while. We're having such a great time downstairs. And then I attended the Paint the Town Red, which was really amazing, put on by an amazing community to celebrate our town. One of our former San Marin High School students, Zach Riggy, got the Spirit of Novato Award. So it's really nice to see our NUSD alumni doing amazing things for our community. And also, I just wanted our board to save the date for the Elected Women's Luncheon on March 7th at 11:30 a.m. You should all get a formal invitation, but the Marin Women's Political Action Committee annually, they host an annual lunch, and this year they'll be honoring some of our NUSD students. So it would be really nice for us to show up and support. And that is it for now. Thank you.
I attended various community meetings and district meetings, but I have something a little bit more prepared that I'd like to say this evening. In response to public comments that we received at our last board meeting regarding safety in our schools and the perception that the board does not take safety concerns seriously, I would like to provide clarity in the process that has taken place. First, the Brown Act prohibits discussion from the board and the superintendent in real time of non-agendized items. Next, our board has placed great emphasis on safety of our students and our staff. The mention that we are indifferent to safety is inaccurate. The suggestion that the board has ignored such issues is also inaccurate. We work together with district administrators to set safety policy decisions and provide guidance into improving safety systems within the district. Although it may appear that we have ignored issues that have been brought to us in public comment, that is not the case. District administrators follow up with those who make public comments within 2 business days. Many of the concerns brought up in public comment are confidential and cannot be discussed in public. We ask the superintendent to respond to those cases, as it is not appropriate to respond in public for privacy reasons, for the rights of students and staff. And lastly, I would like to say that as a parent and as a board member, I personally care very deeply about the safety of our students and our staff, and I know that is true of every person at this table. Thank you.
I'm also going to start my comments by responding to the same set of public comments. Spotlight, please. In response to a comment made about the potential racial discrepancies in discipline that have occurred at our campuses, we take that accusation or that description very seriously, and we're seeking to create consistency in our disciplinary actions across all sites. As you heard from the safety reports provided by Mike Saisi, Director of Student Services, we have developed a one-page discipline matrix to follow, outlining concrete, consistent, progressive steps in discipline that are to be used at all of our sites for all of our students. We have also developed specific responses to bullying and anti-hate speech that we are using this year. When we have consistent protocols used in similar situations across our campuses, it helps us eliminate bias in discipline. The comprehensive safety plans were also mentioned in public comment. These are being approved at our next meeting. They are on the consent agenda, or they are on the open session agenda, open comment. These plans include social emotional goals as they relate to the overall safety of students. The site councils at each school site work on creating site-specific plans for student safety. Okay, it's been a heavy week, just like Diane said. January is appreciation, but this is a good thing. January is appreciation month for our school board members. Yes, yes, it's going to be busy times over the next few months, as we always is this time of year, but I want to give out a shout out to our particularly wonderful trustees. These trustees provide a critical accountability link between the schools and the community. Our trustees take their responsibilities very seriously. They outline at each meeting all the things that they've attended to support schools, to know what's happening, discussions with community members. They ask good questions, they provide guidance, and share the voice of the public and parents and students. A school district cannot be successful without the dedication of trustees, and we are fortunate and grateful for this governance team. So thank you all very, very much for all you do. I hope everybody sees this. Doesn't always happen like this everywhere. Let's see. I was going to talk a little bit about what I did, but you can hear that I did many of the things that are on the table here. I also wanted to emphasize that we are working in collaboration with the Marin County Office of Education and community agencies to ensure our immigrant families are informed of their rights. Front office staff and site administrators have been trained on how to handle situations in case an immigrant official were to show up. If a student is fearful, please alert school staff, and we will find them the support they need. And then today was a busy day at the federal level. There was a memo that was issued that paused all federal loans and monies and grants, including to education. So the education community kind of went up and down all day today, wondering what that meant and what would it mean even in terms of operations currently. And so at 12:30 or 12, sometime in the halfway through, we clarified that special education was not affected, Title I was not affected, school meals were not affected, and then 2 hours later, a judge issued an injunction against that proclamation. So we're back to where we started at 8 p.m. last night. We'll see where we're headed. So I just wanted to provide some clarity on that. That's it.
Thank you. Our first presentation this evening is a community donation to school fuel. Would our school fuel representatives and our resident band, our house band, like to join us?
Thanks for having us, everybody.
You can be at the podium or here.
Okay, we'll do it right here, I guess. Let's start off with some good news. How about that? And then we'll take it from there. So, as Julie said, we're a group of dads of past and present NUSD students. We're Marin's most beloved band, at least Novato's most beloved band. My name's Damian Dale. We have Jeff Fisher here and Brad Smith, and then we have a teacher at Loma Verde, Mike Malone, and one of Marin County's finest, the sheriff, Ryan Cloney, who's our drummer, who couldn't be here. And this is the fourth year in a row we've been here. Every year we play at the Hop Monk. Happy to say every year, the last 4 years, we've sold it out. And this year we're here to present our check, with the proceeds of the ticket sales, along with our corporate sponsor, to our friends here at School Fuel. So this year our check is $15,000. It's the biggest donation we've made so far. And this is for y'all. And yeah, what is our total? I don't know.
We're closing in on like 60,000.
Closing in about 60K for the last 4 years. So we already have the show for this year booked. I think it's November 13th. It's a Saturday night. November 15th. Check the calendar, and we'll see you there. Thank you. All right.
Thank you so much. We greatly appreciate your enthusiasm and your donations.
Trustee Jacobson, can I just say really
Yes,
quickly
please.
that I have missed your performance. I've missed your performance for the past 2 years, and I always am like, oh, I gotta go, and then I miss the tickets, and it was sold out this year, and I was like, oh. And then someone got sick and couldn't go, and they got their tickets, and I was like, yeah, I'll kind of go, it'd be fun. It was like the hottest night in Novato. You guys put on such a great show, and it was like there was so much Novato love in that room. It was so fun. So thank you guys so much.
Super fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Steve.
Okay, our next presentation is from Olive Elementary School.
When you double click, it's going to launch whenever you're ready.
I have a crew tonight. Good evening, Board of Trustees and Dr. Smith. My name is Lori Hira, and I am the principal at Olive Elementary School. I am here tonight to talk to you guys or introduce our new Olive Garden program. I am excited to share this new exploratory class that is being offered at our school, run by a parent volunteer and master gardener, Jessica Flaxman, and our Sustainable School Marin Schools fellow, Sophia Francisco. Olive Elementary's garden class offers students a hands-on learning experience that directly supports academic instruction in the classroom by fostering essential skills such as perseverance, problem solving, and creativity. The hands-on approach enhances academic performance, strengthens classroom engagement, and fosters a deeper connection to learning. So we first have a video, and then Sophia Francisco will be talking a little bit about the program itself. And then I have two students, Aveen O'Connor and Nolan Pappas, who will be talking about their experiences in the garden.
Hi, my name is Jessica Flaxman. I'm a parent of a fourth grader at Olive Elementary here, and I've been helping out doing garden classes this year, and it has been an amazing experience because I get to be outside with the kids, and it covers all the way. We have kindergarten through fifth grade coming in right now, and it is so rewarding to get to see their excitement.
Yeah, so it's crabgrass, right?
Yep. I think so, at least. It's hard because all in this one clump.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're in the garden and we just made hummingbird nests.
Can I get a picture?
What I like about the garden is you can make things and also plant things. What I like about the garden is all the wildlife and making stuff and planting. What I like about the garden that you can find stuff. I like planting things in the garden. This is a hummingbird nest that me and Ramsey made, and it has this rope so you can hang it up on something, and it has soft, like, I don't know, stuff, and then flowers in it. We made a a hummingbird nest.
We tried our hardest, and the bottom's kind of breaking up. But
I hope the hummingbirds can get through.
yeah, and I tried to make a little hole, and Vivian is the one that designed the flowers and fluff. I'm the one who made the grassy areas, all that.
A lot of teachers are concerned that their students are really struggling with resilience, but when we have them in a high interest activity like the garden, they're willing to take those risks and try something again and again. Then we go back into the classroom and they can apply those same skills of trying something again and talking it out with a friend on harder things that may not be quite as high interest, like long division. And so we are able to use an activity like the garden to really apply some of those maybe softer skills to really hard academic pursuits in the classroom.
Okay, I'd like to introduce Sophia Francisco.
Good evening, members of the school board and the Novato community. My name is Sophia Francisco, and I am the Olive Elementary Appointed Fellow with Sustainable Marin Schools. Alongside Olive parent and Master Gardener Jessica Flaxman, I have had the pleasure and the privilege of leading garden lessons for Olive students. This has been an incredible way to bring students outside and connect them to the natural world. These lessons in the garden offer countless benefits for students. They promote physical activity, teach responsibility as students care for plants and creatures within the garden walls, and encourage healthy eating habits by showing kids where food comes from. Beyond that, garden lessons foster a sense of community through shared activities and provide hands-on learning experiences. These tactile, sensory-rich experiences support STEAM education in an engaging and accessible way. One of my favorite moments so far has been finding a monarch butterfly chrysalis hidden among the milkweed plants. Moments like these spark wonder and show students the magic of nature that is directly accessible to them. We officially launched the garden lessons in December, just before the winter break, and have since scheduled 9 recurring weekly lessons covering grades kindergarten through 5th. Since we began in winter, our focus has been on exploring foundational elements of the garden and preparing for the seasons ahead. Some highlights from our lessons so far include conducting acorn viability experiments, building bird nests to better understand the role of wildlife, and exploring the garden as investigators through drawing and observation, and learning hands-on skills like garden maintenance. Moving forward, we are looking to expand on-site composting, reinforcing the knowledge of food systems. Additionally, as spring approaches, our lessons will shift towards planting and nurturing crops that can eventually be harvested and used directly by the school, hopefully making the veggie options all the more exciting. And in every class, we emphasize that the garden belongs to everyone at Olive. It's a shared space, and investing time and care in the garden benefits us all. This sense of community stewardship is just as valuable as the academic skills that students develop through these lessons. Thank you for your time, and I'm personally truly excited to see how this garden continues to grow, both as a physical space and a source of inspiration and nourishment for all of students. All right.
Hello, I'm Avine O'Connor, and I am one of the students. I am in 4th grade. I really like the garden because it reminds me of like how much things you can do outside and just in plants in general. It's really fun to plant things in there because like it makes you feel more capable of doing stuff you never really thought you could do, because like when I was planting one of the plants in there, I thought it wouldn't be that fun, but then I planted like 3 more of them, and it was really, really fun.
Hello, my name is Nolan Pappas, and I am also a student at Olive Elementary School. And what it feels like to me to be in the garden is like a field trip, just it doesn't take so long to get there. And it's fun discovering new little things that you didn't know about that were there before.
So we have some flowers, girls, who are going to be passing out from our garden to welcome all of you into our shared space, a place that we enjoy daily, and a place where our students are able to take some of their learning out into an outside space. So thank you so much.
We're going to get a picture, but if anyone has any questions they'd like to ask. I will say it's so lovely to drive past your garden. You can see it from the street, and it just looks so lively and beautiful, and you guys all spoke to that so much. Okay, we've now come to non-agenda public comment. During this time, we allow for 20 minutes to hear any speakers who would like to share their thoughts and opinions with us. 3 minutes is allowed to each speaker. However, we are not allowed to respond to these comments, nor can we speak about employees or student privacy situations. The board has directed the appropriate staff member to respond to all commenters within the next 2 business days from the meeting. And I do have a full stack, so if you do not need your full 3 minutes, please feel free to say your comments and then we'll go to the next speaker. We have, I think it's Howard. Yes, and also can we please hold your applause just so that we can hear all of our speakers. All speakers will be at the middle microphone. You can leave it at the side table when you go. Thank you. And can I have Anthony ready next?
Okay. Thank you very much to the board and to Dr. Smith. My name is Howard Gersh. I'm a teacher here, so my students call me Mr. Gersh, and I'm also coming as a dad. My son Evan is at home with the flu right now. But I did want to read a letter of character I wrote about 6 weeks ago. This was a trying to think of the word, unsolicited, not asked for. Unfortunately, Rodney Franz, my colleague and friend, has been accused of some accusations, and I wanted to address them in a letter. December 12th, 2024, regarding letter of character, Rodney Franz. To whom it may concern, please accept this letter of character in support of my friend and colleague, Rodney Franz. I have known and have worked professionally with Rodney for 9 years, ever since I began teaching at Novato High School. In fact, Rodney was one of the very first teachers to warmly welcome me to the profession. He's been offering me teaching tips and support since day one. Rodney and I have worked closely together in various capacities over the years. We have collaborated together on musical posters and other graphical elements in the past, and more recently I've been part of the theater booster group helping to support Rodney and his awesome students in the back in their ambitious and wildly successful musicals, plays, and competitions. In all of my interactions, both direct and indirect, over the years with Rodney, I have never once experienced or suspected Rodney as being racist, ever. The very idea of Rodney being a racist has never come to mind, and the very idea is so shocking, foreign, unfounded, and downright preposterous to me. If anything, Rodney is a tolerant teacher. He treats everyone with respect, and he grapples with difficult and controversial topics by including his students in the conversation. Rodney plays to his students' acting and singing strengths, and he casts the best person for a particular role regardless of their race, religion, gender identity, or any other discriminatory category. Rodney is well liked, if not loved and adored, and respected by his booster parents, volunteers, students, colleagues, and community alike. From what I can tell, Rodney is an exemplary teacher, one who I myself aspire to be. If I can answer any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And okay, we have Anthony, and next will be Alicia.
Well, I will be quick, and I want to say thank you to all you guys, and I hope my email I'm going to read to you is not taken personally at all, because I respect what all of you guys do, and I really admire the work you do, and I appreciate you in our community, and I've been part of the district for a very long time, and I love being here. That said, I'm just going to read this to you. The entirety of our community has been honestly jarred by the sudden and seemingly secret and covert removal and absence of Mr. Franz from the musical theater department. Communication began with a letter to the students at around 11:35 on Tuesday, December 10th. This email, in turn, created an information void about why, and only a clear message that he was gone for an undetermined amount of time with no promise of return. As I'm certain you can imagine, being a student or parent without the benefit of knowing this information can be very disconcerting. A lot of these kids spend a lot of time in entertainment, and they came to this school specifically to be under Rodney's program. For a large group of these families within the musical theater program, they expend a great deal of their personal resources as booster volunteers and delivering their kids to and from MSA from far and wide across the county, from Petaluma, from West Marin, from Fairfax, and beyond San Francisco. And it's a lot, and they have no idea, and they're just we've been blowing in the wind without any information about what's happened to him, where he's gone, why he's been gone, and we have to make decisions around our kids' educations. So in my family's case, we came exactly because of Rodney and his high level of instruction and leadership for musical theater. His record of success and production values are very impressive. Our daughter Emma attended Marin Ballet for 12 years and made a decision to leave her ballet that she had been at for a very long time to focus with musical theater with Mr. Franz. So his potential long-term absence or termination has been very alarming to our family. She misses him and wants him back. And additionally, our youngest daughter, Brooke, along with Emma, have been involved in musical theater at local companies for approximately 10 years. Both of our kids are very committed to the arts and attracted to Novato because of Rodney. MSA Novato's initial attraction lure will not retain its luster for our family with the loss of Rodney. I also find myself wondering if the large donors who fund the musical theater program and other programs at MSA will continue their support with the loss of Rodney. I'm not privy to the sustained fundraising contributions which result as a byproduct of having this man at the helm of this program, but I dare say it's formidable. The MSA Foundation would have more information about that. Aside from that, this man has a trophy case full of awards and recognition on a statewide and national level from both his peers and professional community. He has earned these for a sustained period during his tenure. Is that my alarm?
Thank you, Anthony.
Okay, I guess I'll send the rest of this to you guys.
Please do. Yes, thank you.
All right.
That would be great. Alicia Mayost, and then we have Steve. Again, can we please hold the applause? Thank you, as I'd like to hear from all of you. And then Steve will be next.
Hi there. I'm from San Rafael. My son got to this district only because of Mr. Franz. After knowing him for 2 years, I think there's going to be a big loss for the community. I think it's a teacher that cares about the kids. He's completely passionate and care, and there's going to be a big loss not having him. That's my feeling.
Thank you. Can we have Steve? I'm sorry, I cannot read the last name on this. Sure, yeah. Thank you. And then next will be Gina Moore.
Do I look at you guys or do I look at them?
I'm going to be quick because I don't know what I'm going to say. But I will say this. It would be untrue to say that a single person makes up any single program. But I will say this. Rodney Franz is the sun at the center of this constellation, of this community of students, actors, and parents. I've never seen the type of dedication that we've seen with Mr. Franz that inspires all of us to volunteer our weekends, our late nights, our hard-earned dollars to this program, okay? I still have no idea what's going on, okay? If this is in regards to racism, I can give you a specific example of where that's not what happened. That exceptions were made to be more inclusive, okay? So, I got lots of time left. But I don't know where we even are in this decision. I really don't. And as Anthony said, that's been painful for all of us, okay? Because on one hand, it's like, what happened, okay? And all those questions, and then this void of information, okay? So, again, like a lot of us, you know, we came to MSA because of the theater arts program, okay? We knew Rodney was tough. We knew he was fair, okay? I don't have experience in the arts necessarily. I have it in regards to sports, okay? But I see the same level playing field. You put the guys that work the hardest, the people that work the hardest, that do the best out on the field, because that's what's fair to the community, okay? So again, I have no idea what this is about, okay? I can't imagine that a man, what he could have done to have the longevity of a career that he's had, to now at this stage to find out he's not the man we all thought he was. I have a problem with that. Okay? And again, I have a specific example of where an exception was made to be more inclusive, okay? And I'm happy to share that with all of you if that's the information you want. Okay? Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Steve. We have Gina Moore next, and after Gina will be Jackie.
Hi. My heart's pounding out of my chest. I don't know how you musical theater kids do this. I really appreciate everything that people do for the district. My son has been in the musical theater. I'm here to talk about Rodney Franz as well. My son has been in the musical theater program for 4 years. We transferred to this district for this program and for Rodney because he is so incredible. And as a parent, I've been on the boosters for 4 years, been very involved. I work very closely with Rodney, organizing field trips, going on these trips with him. This year, I've been leading back of house for him, so I'm very hands-on and seeing how he works backstage with the kids and with the parents. And I, like so many have said, feel he's been gone for 7 weeks. I know that you've heard probably a lot of voices of people that maybe aren't happy with some things, and we feel like we want our voices to be heard because there are so many people who love and respect him that I feel like, how come, everybody I've talked to who feels positively haven't been called to be involved in whatever investigation is happening. So I'm glad that we're here. I hope that if anybody wants to interview me, I'm happy to talk to you after this, but again, all I've seen is a strong dedication to the program and to these kids. Like Stephen was saying, like I've never seen before. His passion for these kids, his professionalism and his respect goes to the point where he does conflict forums with the kids before he casts. He wants to make sure everybody's comfortable. I'm back there costuming with them, so I know how thoughtful he is and how caring he is for all these students. I know he's got a casting team, so again, when I hear some of these potential accusations, I'm just shocked and floored. And sorry, I knew I was going to cry, but I just hope you're looking at the whole person and not just whatever these accusations are, his body of work over the 17 years, like you said, the trophies, but also the amazing work he's done for this community. And, if changes need to be made, I hope you'll give him the opportunity to make those changes, to come back and implement them, because I think he would hear feedback and pivot if needed. But just to have him be removed without us having any information about what's going on, I understand it's a private investigation, but we want our voices to be heard. And there are so many people who couldn't make it today, but would be here to please check in with us. And we want to offer our thoughts. I did not come in with a professionally written email, but I did write to the district and write to the principal, again, wanting the voice to be heard. And now I'm out of time.
Thank you, Gina. Okay, we have Jackie. We're gonna take these only, and we've run out of time, but we'll make sure to contact everyone who has put in their information. Hello, Jackie, and then we'll have Elena.
Hello, I'm Jackie, and I'm here to talk about Rodney Franz. I'm a sophomore student at MSA Theater. I came to MSA for Mr. Franz and his program. I decided to drive 30 minutes to and from school just so I could be a part of this arts and learn more about something I truly love doing. When I was told that Rodney Franz was going to be gone for an undetermined amount of time, I had many questions, none of which were answered by anyone higher up. If this is truly about discrimination, which, like I said, I have not heard anything about that until today, then as a queer student at this school, I would like to say I have never felt mistreated, judged, or discriminated in any way by Mr. Franz. No one is without faults, and Mr. Franz is no exception, but he truly cares about his students. We care about Mr. Franz as his students. No matter how we identify or how we look, I love it in MSA Theater. I really do. And I miss him a lot. And I hope that he will return, because this program really isn't the same without him. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. And after will be Emma.
This is a little bit high up. My particular story lines up by the gap of a year with another girl. And I moved here from across the country, and she moved here from across the world. I moved from Georgia, and she moved from Czechoslovakia to come here to Mr. Franz's prestigious program. We didn't know anyone, and we had left our entire lives behind us. But Franz immediately opened up a welcome and safe spot for both of us to start our high school career. He built us up as performers and students and helped both of us gain our confidence. And it means a lot because
I am sorry to stop you, because we do want to make sure that your voice is heard on our recording as well. So possibly it turned off. Ellen will check it.
Thank you. He helped me gain my confidence as a performer. Are you getting it? I don't think so. Well, he built me up as a student and a performer and helped me gain our confidence and integrity in being a performer. It meant so much. He never showed bias or any kind of racial discretion in anything. And all he did was his job, which was to teach and tasked based on that teaching. He encouraged me to speak up for myself and other issues, even supporting a student-led board that handle issues within the program. And it's people in it. And he showed me that my student voice matters, especially when it is an issue that may impact the future of students in the program. Ronnie put a lot of time and effort into the program, even more than the students. And prior to this, I had never had a teacher who cared about my friends and my well-being, to the point where prior students come back to get him. I believe that one of their families is here tonight. But it means so much because him being here made the entire program feel like a family. And a family never feels right when one of them is randomly gone. And it doesn't feel fair that all the students who had spent almost 2 hours, 3 hours after school at a time with our teacher don't get to know anything.
Thank you. We're going to work on the microphone for a minute longer. After Emma will be David Winnett.
Hello, my name is Emma Evans, and I am a sophomore at Novato High. I would like to talk about my story for joining the MSA theater program. My dad has mentioned a little bit of my story, but I'd like to go in depth. I have danced at Marin Ballet since the age of 3. It was my biggest love forever. It was my favorite thing to do. But when I was in 3rd grade, I also discovered my love for musical theater. And as I grew up, it was hard learning how to balance the two, and I knew that eventually I would have to come to a decision between one or the other. And I both loved them all so much. Ballet was my first love, but I love theater just as equally. So last year, I made one of the hardest decisions of my life, and I decided to leave my 12 years of Marin Ballet just for Mr. Franz and his program. He promised me that he would make it really worth it for me and that this program would be amazing. And as I fully committed to the program this year, that is exactly what I saw. This program is so welcoming. It's really a family. The people that you meet in this program it's incredible. And I have made some of the best friendships I've ever had in this program. Mr. Franz loves his students so much, and you can see that through his teaching. He loves every single one of us so much, and that is why he comes back every single day, is because of how much he loves his students, and you can see that if you are up close with him, just like all the rest of us are. And as he is gone, it's been really hard because we have had no answers, and if he doesn't come back and I don't get answers, I myself and I know many other people will leave this program. I made one of the biggest decisions of my life just for this program, just for him. And if he's not there, I don't want to be in it. And the fact that I don't have any answers, and I had an opportunity to go back to Marin Ballet in the new year if I wanted to, but I have no answers. Neither do any of my other co-students. And so that has been really hard for us to make decisions like that. Because now, if I do get decisions and Mr. Franz doesn't come back and I'm left, then I only have till summer or the new year, next school year, to join back to Marin Ballet, and that'll put me at a level below where I was before. And I will be with none of my friends that I was with before. Things have been so in the air without him, and although you guys have done an amazing job bringing in other artistic people to help us, it really isn't the same without him, and things are so messy. Communication has not been the same. Our rehearsal schedules aren't out. We never know who's called. We never know when we're learning stuff. It's all up in the air. And Mr. Franz may be old, and you guys think that because of that he can't, but he is always, always, always trying to understand what is socially acceptable. When he's costuming us, he always asks, is this okay? He's always trying to make sure that we are comfortable with stuff. And he never, ever, ever wants to hurt us or offend anybody. But he's just older, and so he doesn't really understand that, but he is really trying to. And so I just would love to say, I really wish that I can get my teacher back as long as everyone else, because this has been really, really hard for a lot of people.
Thank you. We have David and then Jackie Barr.
Hi, everyone. My name's Dave Winnett. I've been a member of the parent community and the community of Novato since 2002. I had 3 daughters who went all the way through the Novato schools, from Hamilton to San Jose to Novato High. All 3 of them spent 4 years in the musical theater program with Rodney Franz. I was the president of the Marin School of the Arts Foundation for 2 years, served on that board for another 4 years, and was a booster lead throughout all of our time in the theater program, including as the president of the boosters our last 2 years. Our youngest daughter, Gabby, graduated in 2023. I did not know that there was going to be this showing of support for Rodney tonight. I was asked this morning to be here. I also did not intend to speak this evening, but the kids asked me to, and I'm honored to do so at their request. I am struck by, as I stand in this room where I've stood many times and spoken to this board many times, the fixture that Rodney Franz is in our community. I remember the beautiful work that Annie did back in our earliest days in the program. And we watched a video about what's happening at Olive, and a teacher on the video is the parent of another young woman who graduated from Novato High a few years ago, was a member of the theater program all 4 years, went on to UCLA to study theater, and is now in a leadership role at a community theater playhouse down in Pasadena. I watched these young people stand in front of you with their hearts in their hands. I am very moved by the show of support for Rodney. You should also know that I'm an attorney, and I am well aware of process, and that investigations like this take time, and by their very nature are private. And I'm not going to comment on it, understanding that it's still underway. Just wanted to be here to remind everyone of the impact that Rodney has had on this community over these years. And to also say, similar to what the young woman before me just said, I'm not going to call Rodney old, but what I am going to say is that I have seen him work incredibly hard to create as inclusive a program as possible, as respectful a program as possible, instituting a number of procedures and group discussions and community involvement over the years to make sure that as much as he could, he would make these kids feel safe and heard and respected. So please keep that in mind as you deliberate going forward. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Okay, and Jackie Barr. Oh.
I'm the other Jackie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
It's okay. Okay, so I'm Jackie Gargosian. I am a mother of 3 boys that went through the MSA theater program. My oldest son is actually the one that's dealing with the theater program right now. He's there at rehearsal trying to help this transition a little bit easier for the children. Knowing Franz for 6 years, never has he ever shown any discrimination towards any child, any student, any race, in any aspect. There has been times where our family has gone through difficult times. I have 2 boys here that are with me, and so we decided to do independent study, but they still wanted to continue the theater program because of Franz. Okay, I'm so emotional just because he has made such an impact on my boys. That he has given them their voice. They have found their place in their lives. My oldest son, who is at the theater, found a new drive in his life when he lost his grandfather, when Franz offered to help him in giving him the opportunity to be an assistant director with him. Giving him that opportunity also allowed him to go to PCPA, which is a performing arts theater program down in Santa Maria. These are the opportunities that Franz gives to these students in this theater program. And to take someone away that's there to support them and encourage them and open doors up for these children that would never get those opportunities with any other teacher is so disappointing and hurtful as a parent because we can only do so much for our children. The teachers are the ones that are guiding them and supporting them in their dreams in the world. You know, and to take someone that's that invested, that dedicated, that supportive from our students, from the program, would be so detrimental to our society of our children and our students and incoming theater, just to express themselves, even if it's not something that they want to do as a career. This gives them the opportunity to grow as a person and to find their inner voice. So I still have 20 minutes, but I'm pretty much done in that aspect. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you all very much. You'll all be reached out to by staff. Our next item is item 13A. This is the acceptance of the California School Employee Association initial proposal. I'm assuming, did I miss something? Oh, I'm so sorry. I skipped a section. We're at 12A, staff report, overview of current career technical education program.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to introduce Daniel Mikula, our college and career specialist expert here, and he is going to give us a review of our current offerings and all the work that we do with College of Marin and Marin County Office of Education. Thank you, Daniel.
Perfect. Thank you, Julie, for the introduction. Good evening, Board of Trustees. Good evening, Dr. Tracy Smith. Thank you all for having me tonight to give a quick update. Promise it's going to be quick for what I've been through since last year, since I've seen you guys. There's an article here in the slides just to show why people would choose CTE. And so someone, as far as a high school student that is in a CTE career program compared to someone that's not, has advantages after high school. Whether they choose to go to college or not, they're going to have a competitive edge in the career force. Also, a higher rate for graduation, as well as being employed and being enrolled in post-secondary. So people that get exposed to CTE in the high school programs gives them a better chance of knowing what they want to do when they graduate post-secondary. Looking at some of our programs, a closer look. Let's see what's cooking over at Marin Oaks. We have culinary. As you can see here, there's a few pictures shown. The culinary students have the opportunity to provide for all staff and students a Thanksgiving meal, as well as showing them getting pictured with making pastas. Let's see what's streaming at San Marin. We have our new program with the sports medicine. You can see the student stretching out the other student on the student table. Engineering program, as well as our tech theater put on by Stephen Hess, who you guys know as far as our manager for both our theaters at San Marin and Novato. He has a tech theater program after school and helps the students to provide support for both high schools for different plays, musicals, and drama performances. And another picture there shows our biotech program, students showing younger students coming to visit how to mix different colors and using the pipette technologies. A few things that are not pictured is our Cisco cybersecurity. Students learn about how to deal with networking and to fight the cyber threats, as well as multimedia, which students get Adobe certification as they go through that program with Mr. Santos. Over at Novato, we have some programs. So first pictured, actually it's great, we have Mr. Gersh here. So the first picture there is with our video game design class that he teaches, as well as 3D animation in the second picture. Third picture is put on by Dr. Alma Siddiqui with our medical careers pathway. And actually in that picture is kind of small, but there's Ken from College of Marin. That's a great partnership we have with College of Marin where students get certification. They'll get EMR, EMT trained. So when they graduate, when they turn 18, they can test and they go right into the workforce being medically, with medical experience. pictured up top with the welding is part of our product design by Ben Knutson. And then we also have photography with Mr. Brooks Fletcher. What's not pictured is our film cinematography, which I do have a video here. It'll be a quick video. These are students that we approved, that you approved, the board, for Philip Chadell to take 2 students to the All-American High School Film Festival. And I asked for them to kind of do a little quick report out. Not able to be here tonight, but I want to show this video to substitute that.
My film, We Were on a Break, got into the All-American High School Film Festival and was nominated for Emerging Talent.
The film I submitted at All-American High School was Fragments, and it was nominated for the Emerging Talent Award. I've already seen my movie twice before, like in screenings, but this one is different because it was in New York and it was in Times Square, and I knew there's like 4 other theaters that were showing different movies and different student films, and mine was part of that. Lots of emotions, because first off, I knew I was nominated, but I didn't know what for, so I was kind of surprised. And when I saw We Were on a Break get nominated first,
We were on a
that was a crazy surprise to me. And then 2 announcements later for like the movies that they announced, I saw mine up there and I was like, holy crap.
We were on a
I know we got in, I know we were nominated. I did not think it was possible that I could have won. So, being given that award to me has kind of like just told me like, we can be here, we can be at more of these festivals, and we can get these awards because we're making films that are worthy of that. I would 100% recommend the All-American High School Film Festival to others because I think it's like for student filmmakers that are aspiring to be on that next level, it's kind of that entry-level festival that really gets to show us like, hey, this is what it can be and what it will be moving forward if you pursue this path. And I think what they're doing in New York with the All-American High School Film Festival is really special, and I'm super thankful that we were able to go.
Students, there was 5,000 folks that were at that contest and 3,000 entries. So it's a round of applause for our Novato folks representing. Yeah. So along with our closer look at the 3 high schools we offer CTE programs, we also have partnerships with our MCOE, the Marin County Office of Education, with ROP. So just kind of show you a few pictures there. We have construction, we have audio, sound recording, education pathway, there's a medical pathway. There's also a car appreciation, it's called the CAP program, stands for Car Appreciation and Preservation Program. And then actually it's dead center right underneath the text of collaboration is our new class in collaboration with MCOE, Novato Unified, and By the Bay Health. We have an intro to the world of healthcare class that just started at San Marin just a few weeks ago. Along with the MCOE, we also have collaboration with College of Marin. This is a program I helped start last year with students from both Novato, San Marin, and Marin Oaks to go over to the College of Marin during their school day to take auto classes. What you see pictured here are students working on balancing a tire, working on changing the oil, and taking a tire off. So these are great skills for all students to learn, even if you don't want to pursue automotive in the future. I mean, it's really great just to learn how to change your own oil so you don't get ripped off by any of those mechanics, right? And with the collaborations with College of Marin, I want to introduce to our Empower Tomorrow event. As you can see down below, President Jonathan Aldridge speaking. You can also see Dr. Smith right there in the background on that slide as well. And what this is, you know, with starting with high school, it's starting a little too late. And the push is moving down to middle schools and even the elementaries to get them exposed to different career paths and thinking about what they want to do. They're asking questions. I have a 7th grader here at San Jose. He's like, even 2 years ago, he's thinking about being a PE teacher. Now he wants to go into writing as well as doing film. So it's like things change, and it's great to have those opportunities, but to be exposed to that. And so that's my goal, is to make sure to push for our middle schools to get more exposure to that piece. So save the date. We actually have our next date locked in with College of Marin. That's a great event. I think most of you guys were there. Thank you for your support. It is October 10th, 2025, of course, and I'll be over at the IBC Jonas Center, and more to follow on that. Just show a few quick little pictures of that, which I think is really important because we have community members. There's almost 500 students that went that day between our San Jose Middle School, Sinaloa, as well as Hamilton. And we had over 40, vendors that included teachers promoting their programs, as well as our community members. Pictured in the top left, you see Mac. That's what he goes by, from the wastewater management. I met him through collaboration with this, Leadership Novato. And even after this event, he's had some presentations going into Novato High School to volunteer with the science programs to talk about wastewater management. Top right, Stephen Hess, mentioned him earlier, but he's got students drilling with wood. Dead center, you'll see Trevor Smith. You might recognize that guy. Awesome guy from maintenance operations, showing students how it works with watering. Bottom left is Ron Palmer with the College of Marin, showing the auto program. Dead center bottom is Nos Fields. They brought a pilot as well as a flight simulator. So there's an actual pilot there dressed up and teaching the kids how to use the flight simulator. A lot of interest with that. More on aviation later. Hope to share more on that next year when you guys bring me back up. And then lastly, actually two more, I'm sorry. On the bottom right is Brooks, and he's teaching students how to take pictures, just portrait photography outdoors and using some lighting. And then we actually have our IT department there on the far right. You can kind of see James holding a picture, taking a picture of both Hassan and David Reyes, teaching students how to replace their Chromebook screens, which is a huge help, and maybe something we can look at later for internships with work-based learning. Other than that, had an opportunity to work with the film students. That's pictured right. They did the film fest, and I was in the show called Daddy, as well as bottom left, Alma Siddiqui was nominated this last year with Sonoma State as being an innovative educator, and that's her getting that award. So thank you very much for your time and your attention, and if there's any questions, I'll hang out for a few minutes.
Hi, thank you so much for your presentation. How many students are part of the CTE program?
Great question. All three schools together, we have 1,096 students participating in one of those CTE programs at one of the high schools I mentioned.
And like, how many do you have like at do you have that data, San Marin, Novato versus Marin Oaks?
I do. Marin Oaks is going to be our smallest because it's a culinary class, and I believe it's 7 or 8 last time I ran the query. I mix this data all together because there's some sensitive information if we singled out each course, but I can give that to you later on for sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Magali.
First off, Mr. Palmer, he was my auto shop teacher at San Marin.
That's awesome.
I don't know if that makes him old or me old, but it makes I feel old. Anyway, but that's great that he's still doing it. It's awesome. Yeah, he's Colin Palmer. Anyway, one question I got, I am close to some friends who are in the local business community, and they're connected with a program that's taking place up in Sonoma County that sets up internships with various local businesses. Have you heard much about that? Is that something that's worth pursuing and discussing? And I think Tracy, you might. This is the thing that Bert Hoffman's been talking about.
Are you asking her?
No, I would, whoever's appropriate. So.
I failed to mention Dave Glasgow's someone we have through MCOE who helps out with our 3 schools. So one day a week he's at Marin Oaks on Mondays, he's at San Marin on Wednesdays, and at Novato High School Thursdays, and he helps students get them placed into internships, as well as like some of these other opportunities like the ROP classes, because that takes a different sign up, meets with them and gets them signed up with that. Okay. Marin Oaks also has another program. Can't remember the name of that. It's Lime. No. I don't know. Direct that to you, Tracy, if there's something he's mentioning. But
what's the name of the program that we have at Marin Oaks? The extra internship.
Magnolia
Project.
Magnolia Project.
Yes, we do have a separate.
Is that the one? That might be the one that he was talking about. I can't remember the name, but anyway.
So the Magnolia Project,
take that offline.
They focus on the students in the continuation schools, not the comprehensive high schools.
Okay. All right.
That's a great program for them over there.
Okay. I'll get more information and talk to Tracy about it. So, but thank you. Good stuff. This is so important because not every kid wants to go full academic. right?
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And we need it.
Absolutely.
We are totally understaffed.
I mean, if I pulled the whole room asking how many times did we change our career, I'm sure most of us would be raising our hand. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do when I grow up.
Oh, yeah, I'm still growing up.
Trustee Pickus and then Trustee Gasson.
Thank you so much. This is so exciting, and I just want to appreciate sort of the longer vision, and it connects with what you were saying, Trustee Mack, about the sports programs and what you were saying about starting in middle school and elementary school, right? Just really thinking about a pipeline and not, we have conversations around our graduation rates and plans after college, and it's really a long-term conversation, right? About like we have to start younger and having that language in our schools so our students are familiar with that. And I think I see that happening in a lot of different parts in this district, and I just really appreciate that you have sort of a vision for building this out. There's so much happening already, but it's all just really exciting. So thank you.
Thank you, Abby.
I was going to say this for some guess the trustee kind of event, but I used to be a real estate agent, was my first career. So I'm talking about changing where you are, and now I'm not. I just want to reinforce how great and successful I felt Empower Tomorrow was, and I'm so pleased that you're doing it again. I know it's a huge undertaking. The enthusiasm that I saw in the kids and learning and exploring, and I've done events before. I've put on or helped put on the North Bay Science Discovery Day, where I know how hard it is to get people to participate, and all of the pieces working together, and the amount of people that you got there to show their trade or to show the different things that kids could do was just amazing. So thank you for putting that together and for getting a date and getting it set up for the kids again. I just think that's just such a perfect thing to do for kids at that age, so they can figure what are all the opportunities that we have, and we're so fortunate to have here at Novato Unified through our partnerships. So.
Thank you, Trustee Diane.
Okay, thank you so much. This was a great presentation. Always great to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our next item is brought to us by Joshua Braff. This is a staff report on the governor's proposed budget for 25-26.
All right. Good evening, trustees. Yes, today we're going to talk about the governor's proposed budget. What we really should start with is what even is this? It's so funny how we wait and wait and wait for this moment to come so that we know what the budget is going to say, and then instantly forget about it for about 5 months, because it is a proposed budget, but it's not even really a budget. It's more a proposed list of ideas and considerations that the governor is making. So he's basically saying, hey, I'm going to provide you a budget 5 months from now in May, which is called the May revise. And in that, these are going to be my priorities. So if we think of it through that lens, that's what we're actually looking at right here. And what we remember is that last year, this information was not good. It was a lot of actually kind of bad. We've returned back to sort of, we'll call it the norm, where it's not like joyous elation. There's not like a ton of money that's just flowing, but it's also not, hey, remember when you were going to get 3 or 5% and now you're getting 0.7? It's not that. So let's dive into what it is. So Prop 98 is the bright spot. All these slides that you're seeing were produced by School Services of California. They put on a big show right after the governor does his budget proposal, and then I steal all the slides and use them for about a year. So that's what I've done here. So if anything is a typo, not my fault. But Prop 98 is the bright spot. What do they mean by that? A lot of Governor Newsom's priorities have been education. That hasn't changed. Every single year that he's been in office, I mean, he really was a protege to Jerry Brown, who also was a big funder of education. So we've seen that progress. That's still the same thing. We see that the the Prop 98 has hit the spending limit. Prop 98 says that it has to be a certain percentage of all the funds that are all the revenues that come in have to be spent on education. We hit that number. The reliance on one-time funding has reduced. So we're looking at now using ongoing funds to fund ongoing costs. That's great. That's great as taxpayers. It also provides some one-time discretionary resources. It does say significant, but we need to put that in the context of what the norm was and what COVID was. So if we're thinking significant COVID, this is not at all significant. If it was significant 2018, yeah, it's actually pretty good. And then it fully funds the cost of living adjustment, the COLA. The COLA is a federal number. The California government does not select that number. They just select if they're going to fund it or not. And he is proposing that he will. So are the LCFF augmentations history? Why is that important? Well, it also has skewed what the norm is again. Before we were looking at like 0, 1, 2, 1, 1.5, 2, 2, 8, 13.5, 8. 0.75, right? So it's this really big bar graph that then when you average it out over 3 or 4 years, it's like, oh, the norm is like 8 or 9%. Well, it's not. The norm is like 2%, 2 to 3%. So is the augmentation history? Probably. We're going back to just a COLA only. So it's just COLA, whatever the federal government says it is, that's what the California will be. Categoricals, this is one of the most interesting things of all, is that we've gone, and I've joked about this standing up here before, that we've lived long enough to see categoricals come back. And that's because everyone wants to sign their name to something, right? This is the legislation that I brought. This is the money that I gave to education, put my name on it, therefore put it in its own resource. Categoricals look like they're kind of coming back. And then UTK, which is Universal Transitional Kindergarten, is being funded at a lower ratio. So this is a thing that has been sort of talked about, thing that has been promised, and then pulls back each year. It looks like it's full steam ahead. In other words, it will be 10 to 1, something that Novato Unified School District already does. So what are the risks to the budget? Why is this all just tentative? It might not end up being real at all. Well, stock market volatility in California, a significant portion of the money that we take in revenue and tax dollars come from capital gains tax, aka the stock market. Any kind of extreme weather events. This obviously was very timely just a couple weeks ago, which was even more timely because the governor released his budget and it was like a day later that the Los Angeles fires really became what they became, which is, raging. So extreme weather events, what type of California funding will go into that will pull? It can't pull from our LCFF dollars because that has the Prop 98 guarantee, but it could pull from any extra programs that were being added to that LCFF. They're talking about delaying tax deadlines due to the natural disaster. Los Angeles County is about 30 to 40% of all tax dollars in the United States. In California. So it's probably 6% of all the United States. But that is a huge amount. It is normally thought that delaying the taxes of any one county or one area doesn't actually affect anything long term. It's never really been tested on a 35, 40% of that total dollar value. So we'll see. And then, of course, federal policy, as we talked about earlier today, of what happened earlier today. And then also the elevated interest rates, how that will affect the entire economy. Here, won't spend too much time on this on the Prop 98 guarantee, but it is something that is probably going to get talked about, and so it's important to sort of pepper it in now. Last year was the maneuver, right? So it was this whole idea that $8 billion wasn't going to be in this budget. It's going to be in last year's budget, but we're going to talk about it in 25, 26. And it was this whole spiraling thing that then became lawsuits. And at the end of the day, it affected nothing. It was all just accounting maneuvers. Whether legal or not, that's not the point. Just the point is that it didn't actually affect us. This is sort of the same idea here. Is the question from analysts versus the governor is what is the actual Prop 98 guarantee? And his budget says that it's 117 billion, and analysts say it's 119 billion. So that's a $2 billion difference. And there's the point of the analysts is you owe us that money. So in the public school, this slide, which we don't have to dive into, really basically just says that because the reserve is being dipped into, the rainy day fund, in a previous year, the reserve cap no longer exists for us for going into next year. So the reserve cap was any district our size was not allowed to have more than 10% in ending reserve funds without going through the process of saying what those funds are specifically for. That cap is gone for next year. This slide is just an interesting slide to look at, specifically in the mark of what continues to grow as we get COLA and we have a growth, but the expenditures continue to grow with them. And COLA of 5% doesn't equal the same amount of dollars as an expenditure growth, a total expenditure growth of 5%, right? So this is the projection. And one of the biggest pieces there is special education contribution, which has been a big piece and continues to grow. This is not just us, this is all of California and probably most of the United States. But the other big thing is the liability insurance, specifically around SAFE, S-A-F-E, it's an acronym, and that has to do with protections for child molestation cases, sexual crimes, things like that, because they removed the statute of limitations. Now, as a district, our insurance has to factor that in, which creates a enormous cost. That enormous cost is, of course, with all districts. So we all have that cost. So it's something that we have to consider now that we didn't have to consider 2 or 3 years ago. One of the one-time funding grants that they're talking about, that this is one that, like, if something is going to get pulled away, it's probably this, because this is extra money on top, is the Student Support and Professional Development Discretionary Block Grant. It says it's about $1.8 billion in flexible one-time money. We don't know much about it. They say that it's for teacher recruitment and career pathways and dual enrollment and anything else. You know, it's very... These preliminary ones don't give you a lot of good information. This is a good little picture that I liked, and it's the idea of that, you know, ESSER was held together by LRE, which was the Learning Recovery money, and now the LRE is going to get held together by, that's this grant, SSPD, held by that, and then what comes next? Because if we don't address our spending of one-time dollars on ongoing costs, that's what the shark is, right? We have to continuously address that and continuously look at the fact that grants are not forever. Well, some grants are not forever. Another big factor, CalPERS and CalSTRS. CalPERS is the orange line, CalSTRS is the blue line, and CalSTRS is is locked in. And both of these are set by the California legislature. But CalSTRS has been set at 19.1%. CalPERS has no such agreement. Continues to grow. Yes, it shows that there are some years that it looks like it might not grow as much. But the fact is that every year we expect it to go up some. And this is just to make it an equivalent of what does 27.5% means. That means for every dollar of salary we pay CalPERS 27.4 cents, right? So that's a huge cost for every dollar that goes out in salary for our classified staff, and then 19.1 cents for every dollar of certificated staff. Universal transitional kindergarten proposals, money coming in for us to get to the 10-to-1 ratio. There is already a TK add-on. They're proposing to almost double that add-on, but that's the proposal piece of it. So we can't guarantee that yet. We're continuing to watch. The great thing about this is, as I said, Novato Unified already does 10-to-1. So we already took that leap early, and now we'll be able to fund it with this proposal. So what does this process look like? What is happening? I keep saying it's going to change. It's going to change. Well, it is. So the Senate and the Assembly, this California Senate and California Assembly, starts going into session, and they start having their hearings and do all their legislature stuff. And then the big part is that the governor's May revision. So in the middle of May, is listed as May 14th, my birthday. Everyone write that down. They will come back with the revision. On that revision, that is the closest that we get to what the law is going to look like without it being signed. Then from that May 14th deadline through June, it's all negotiations between the governor and the legislature, because they have to provide a finalized budget to him, and he has to sign it by June 30th. Usually June 15th is the deadline for the legislature to turn it back over to the governor, and then he's got 15 days to sign it. When they're in alignment and there is money flowing, it usually happens right away. When something hard has happened, that's when we get really pushed to June 30th. But just like us, we have to have our budget by June 30th, and it's entirely dependent on what this budget looks like, and that's where the conflict always happens. So the earlier they get theirs done, the easier it is for us. And of course, any questions?
Okay, so first we need to make it really clear to the governor that you need to have a really good birthday present and make it good for everyone. My question actually goes to this. Well, actually, I don't know if it's a question so much as it the slide 10 with the CalSTRS and PERS. How much are we paying now? I know when I used to do accounting and stuff for companies, there was like a flat assumption, salary plus what's the percentage on top that is benefits and this as an element. How much of their salary is it, like now 30-something%?
If we're taking out health and wellness, when we look at it as the entire staff, we'll use like a 22.5%. That's certificated and classified. If we do just classified, it's like 35%. And that's without health benefits, because our health benefits are flat.
But that's what I'm saying. So if you have like a person that has, and I understand there's a difference, so just the classified $100,000 salary, how much do you add on top of that is for the benefits and everything?
If they're taking full family health, that'd be about $55,000. So full family health and
over 50%.
Yeah, if they're taking full family and all the statutory taxes like FICA and FUTA and all that kind of stuff, then yes, it'd probably be around 55%. When you're starting with 27% there and then 21% of taxes.
Well, that's sort of why I was asking, because you've already started at the place that where you would have started in a normal company is adding on because those are costs that are not part of the salary but need to be calculated into your budget.
Private, like non-401k type stuff is usually around 21%.
Right. Okay, and then I had another question. I don't remember now. Oh, the TK, just because I saw some stuff in the local papers, the requirement around TK now, it's supposed to be for all sites, right? Is there any reason that a school district doesn't have to offer TK? Because I know, part of it is because I know that we've been fortunate. We have the facilities, we've got this set up, and we're in a good position. But what is the criteria for whether you have to have it or not?
The way it's written in law is you have to have it. There's no other ifs or ors. It's you have to have it.
Okay, I thought there was some element that you could get around it or something. And
that's debatable, and I think that's being tested right now. The idea is that if you're a basic aid district and you were to say, we're not going to take TKers, what punishment could the California government do to you? Because they can't take your funding, your basic aid.
Don't do. Okay.
So that's the challenge that's happening. But the way it's written in law, you have to do it. You don't have a choice. It's just, I think that the question is, but then how could you make them?
Got it. Because I had thought that it was, like I said, I'm so pleased that we're in such a great position to be able to do what we are doing for the kids. So thank you.
Okay, no other questions. Thank you so much.
You.
Our next item is brought to us by Francesca Whitcomb. This is 13A. This is the acceptance of the Classified School Employees Association, that's CSEA, initial proposal for reopeners for the 25-26 negotiations.
Good evening, trustees. Dr. Smith. So this item you have before you, earlier back at our meeting in December, we brought forward the reopeners for NFT. These are the reopeners that we have received proposal from CSEA for negotiations for 25-26, and we will be starting with them very early in February. So,
questions or a motion to accept? Okay, we have a first from Trustee Mack and a second by Trustee Alexander. All in favor of acceptance? 7 plus 1 student trustee. Thank you so much. And you will stay with us for our next item. This is the approval of NUSD's initial proposal of negotiations with CSA, our side.
So the first item was the proposal from CSEA. This is the district's and our staff proposal that we would like to bring forward as articles to negotiate with CSEA. And as I should clarify, as with NFT, the entire CSEA contract is it's considered successor agreement negotiations. So the entire contract is technically open, but this is what we're proposing as a starting point.
Questions or a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Thank you, Trustee Pickus. And a second by Trustee Mack. Thank you. All those in favor? 7 plus 1 student trustee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Josh again with discussion action approval of shade structure project for multiple sites.
Come on.
Joined by JC.
Yes.
Not gonna tag team.
Yeah, thank you very much. Tonight we're very happy to bring to you the shade structure project that was originally approved as part of the board priority list. And JC is going to go into the what we're asking for approval, and then there's a bit of a finance portion that I'll take on when we get there. Go ahead.
Thank you, Josh. Good evening, trustees, Dr. Smith, and everyone in attendance. My name is Jean-Claude Van Rooyen, or JC. I'm the Director of Maintenance, Operations, and Transportation. And today is day 105 for me. I've been using that line for some time, but I really feel like I've had the opportunity now to really get stuck in and actually work on something that is fantastic, that is going to be appreciated by all the students and the staff at all our schools, and something that's going to remain at the schools for a very long time. I would also like to welcome Rob from USA Shade for joining us tonight. He's driven a very long way. Just a little bit of context. You do have some paperwork that is hot off the press. I believe it's in a different color for you. It came a little bit later, so it's not part of your board packet. So just in terms of a bit of context, project overview, the project aims to enhance the outdoor spaces across selected schools. And then by installing the shade structures, we can really improve the aesthetics as well as improve student comfort and safety, especially during those extremely warmer months. And I experienced a little bit of that when I joined in September. All the structures that we've selected for this proposal are all DSA approved, so there has been no sort of custom builds to save a little bit of cost. So we've been very cognizant of that. And then, as Josh mentioned, the funding is coming from Measure G bond funds. So in terms of the site selection criteria, the original list or scope of work actually started way before I joined. It was actually on February the 17th of 2023. So it's been a long time coming. And as I've been walking around the school sites, interacting and engaging with students and the principals and the teachers, this is something that they really need and have been wanting for a long time. So the selection included an evaluation of the student population, the outdoor space usage, what we already have. As you might know, a lot of our shade structures have been damaged by winter storms sometimes many months ago. And some are just in a state of disrepair. And there's also been a lot of structures that have sort of just been put together. So we really want to, establish some long-standing shade structures to stand the test of time. So again, a lot of walking. I got my steps in. I've done a lot of site visits with the principals, with Rob, with our architects. But it's really been a collaboration with our principals and USA Shade to identify those locations for the installation. The project, again, also aligns with the district's broader facilities planning efforts to improve student environments, and it's part of the NUSD goals. And I'm so proud to be working on that aspect. Josh is going to give us a little breakdown on the financials.
Sure. Yeah. So the total estimated cost for this project is $1.14 million. The whole reason that I wanted to support JC on this part is because when we originally talked about this, we had a line item of about $250,000. So going from $250,000 to $1.1 million, gigantic jump. We want to talk about mainly two big factors of why that change happened. Number one, when we originally were proposing this, it was elementary school only, and I should rewind just a little bit, is that when we went out to do our road shows, Superintendent Smith and Dr. Signard and myself went out and we went to Loma Verde, that they were like, yeah, all this stuff is great, but when are you putting up our shade structure? And they had already fundraised for it. They had been asking for it. They'd been asking for it. They'd been asking for it, right? When we started talking to some of the other sites, it showed that it was the same thing, but Loma Verde was one step ahead. They had already fundraised. And so it was, okay, this is a priority. Let's take this on. When we first started looking at them, we were like, okay, they need like a 12 by 12, think like a big umbrella type of thing, right? Or in some spaces we could do sails that are like not attached to big giant poles. And those prices are much cheaper. The problem is that they don't actually address the need. Number one, the sails rip off. And so that's not only like a danger, but it's something we're going to spend money on and then not get to keep because it's going to break. And then the little ones, it didn't really address what the actual need was, which is an eating area, play area that had shade, right? So that's a little bit larger. So because of that, almost all of them, I should say all of them grew in size. Well, those sizes come with a much bigger cost. Then on top of that, add not just elementary schools. We looked at our other middle and high that needed it as well. So the scope changed in both the scope and the scale. This price too, I want to make sure that I mention a huge thank you to the participation of both the PTO for Loma Verde and the PTA of Sinaloa, where we are doing additional units that they have basically added on to. So we put in the base unit, and they said, well, we'd also like one in the kinder yard at Loma Verde, because they had already fundraised the money. And so we said, okay, that sounds great. We'll add that in. So the cost to the district will be slightly less than this, but this is the total cost for the project.
Yep. And then this is the last slide. So we are, in summary, we're requesting approval for the allocation of said amount from the Measure G bond funds. And then in terms of timelines, as soon as we have this approval, the work will basically commence. We've already initiated work with two architects. So we have quotes from two architects. So that is the highest number right there that you see on the screen. Construction and installation, again, upon approval, we'll get that work rolling as soon as possible. And then in completion, probably somewhere during the summer. So we're trying to get that done as soon as possible. We're trying to see if we can mobilize multiple teams at sites and get it done as soon as possible. And we're open for any questions.
Just a clarifying question, please. The funding source and cost, the fundraising by the PTA, PTO, that's already been raised, that $120,000?
Correct.
Thank you.
So, and I had the written question. Thank you for the clarification on Loma Verde. I get it. But so Sinaloa also raised some money too?
Yes.
And so I'm looking at the plan, I see one, I don't see an extra, I don't see an extra structure is what I'm getting at. So
Correct. Sinaloa is a little different to that. Loma Verde was one where we basically added on the additional side, then added on added on the additional size, not side, and added in the kindergarten yard one. Sinaloa, if you've been to Sinaloa recently, the entire thing is pretty much shaded. So they don't have the need that the other sites had, and that's the same reason why San Marin isn't on that list. And
San Jose.
And well, there's actually a couple of them that were said did not need one, but they said, we've already raised this money, we really, really want one. Can we have one? So then the conversation with them was a little different because they
Sinaloa.
were at Sinaloa specifically, yes.
I mean, I would just advocate to this is just me, but they raise that money and they're paying for it, but the other schools effectively are not paying, the other PTAs are not paying for it. I would advocate giving that PTA its money back. And granted, I know it comes out of us, but I think it's fair. It just seems to me they raised all that money, they shouldn't have to pay for it when the PTO shouldn't have to pay for it, or PTA, when the other schools were paying for it. I don't know if that makes sense. I want to support this project, absolutely, let's go. But that's the one thing I see.
We can always discuss with them funding after the point. I think the idea is that the district can fund that, and then we would get a reimbursement from them, so we can take that under advisement.
Yeah, I just think that PTA raised a lot of money, and they're paying for this when, if they didn't raise it, they'd still get it, potentially.
But I do think that the majority of the schools are elementary, and this was part of one of the things that we wanted to have as a standard for elementary schools.
Okay.
And at Sinaloa, just as a volunteer and a parent, that is the number one thing that I've been asked about is, can they have a shade structure? And particularly if they funded it, would we just make it happen? So they come into it with that knowledge as well.
I get you.
And it sounds like, and I appreciate the clarification, but for me, it sounds like the scope at Loma Verde was bigger than what we would have done. And so in that sense, because I would agree, I think we should do.
Yeah, I'm okay with that one. They're getting a second structure. I get it. So.
Questions from Butler and then Gaston, please.
Just reading the limited warranty, I was just curious, if one of them gets damaged, is it our responsibility, or does the company pay for a replacement in a certain period of time?
I would say that I think it depends on what the problem is, right? Like there is like a manufacturing defect versus what happened at Hamilton most recently, where a redwood fell on it.
Right.
I don't think that the manufacturer is responsible for that, right? And I don't think any of us would think that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's obviously a difference between like a manufacturing defect or something that is a act of God, I guess we can call it.
Okay. Well, I think we better know exactly what it is, what they're going to be responsible for. So some clarity. Okay. Thank you.
So similarly, I actually had a note, and I apologize if it's in here, but the replacement timeline, like how long do these usually last?
That's a good question.
Oh, how long do they last?
Yeah.
Gosh, Rob, do you want to answer that?
The structure's indefinitely.
Right.
So overbuilt. The fabric, and that's a big part of my job, is fabric replacement. What I'm seeing on average is, provided it's not vandalized or tree damage or whatnot, the fabric's lasting about 13, 15 years before it actually
awesome.
replaced.
Okay.
You want to say that?
Yeah.
Right, I was actually just thinking, so just for people who couldn't hear that.
So just the question was, how long do the shades last? The structure itself can last a lifetime. The shades have an estimated lifespan of about 13 to 15 years. The fabric itself, yeah.
Fabric. Okay, thank you.
And you asked about warranty. There is a 10-year warranty on the fabric itself.
Okay.
A 10-year warranty on the fabric
That was
itself.
that one.
Yeah.
I know we look.
It says supplied steel is warranted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to talk out of two sides of my mouth, and my Novato high school parents are going to be a little bit mad at me. The money that we're spending is significantly above what we budgeted, and I'm in total support of this and believe that we should do this. But I'm always looking at, what did we promise it's always, well, we're under budget, we're going to have this extra money, so I know that's how we're funding this, but what is it that we're trading off? And I just felt like it was prudent for me to just put that out there, that we're spending money here, and which means we may not be able to spend money on some other things that we've talked about in the past. So again, I'm talking at two sides of my mouth, but I felt like we had to at least, mention that this is coming from that overage. We always say, oh, there's overage, we're going to have this other money. So I don't know what we have left that we can maybe play with, but one of the top things that I've heard in the communities about are play structures. And I know we've made a really good movement to getting new structures at each of our elementary schools too. So again, I'm in favor of this, but I feel like, we have to also look at, well, what are we maybe potentially missing out on that we had said, oh, it's going to come out of this extra bucket that we have.
Also remember that the play structures are part of the board prioritization list that was approved. And that is basically, I'm guessing probably the next time that you're going to see JC standing up here that's the project, we've been working on is the elementary play structures.
Do we have an estimate on, I'm just presuming that things are going to get more expensive. So
Before you answer that, didn't you say in an email that we had savings on other projects and that was coming to this?
Yeah, and I think that's what Trustee Gaston was referring to when she was saying the other money. So just to be clear on that, we've had projects that have closed since doing the board priority list. That was, I keep saying board, but I mean bond priority list back in October. Since then, we've had some projects that closed and finalized, and we came in under budget. So when a trustee question had come that was asking about, how does this basically affect the bottom line? At the end of the day, not too much, because the savings from other projects just went to basically offset this. And we're going to be talking about a couple projects in the next few weeks that are coming in under budget as well. So even the budget for new projects are lower than what we set aside. Very lucky to work with Greystone, who always budgets on the high side so that we make sure that we have those outcomes.
Right. No, and I've been glad. I feel like we've gotten a lot further than we thought because of that. But for context, I just want to make sure that we're not missing a piece, because this is important. We need to do it. But what's the trade-off? So I'm happy to hear that there's still some more money that is coming in. And I know we also get interest, which is another positive thing. So, okay, thanks.
Are there questions or a motion to approve? Trustee Butler, thank you. And Trustee Gasson with a second. All those in favor? 7 plus our student trustee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item is brought to us by Leslie Benjamin. This is the review and approval of board policy and exhibits in the 1000 series.
Just following all the directions here. Thank you very much. Tonight, I'm bringing you an update to the Board Policy 1325 Advertising and Promotion to include an exhibit of official district and school logos and a process for schools when considering a change to a school name, logo, or imagery. Oh, there we go. This exhibit includes NUSD logos, which were originally approved on November 7th, 2017. And all the school logos have been reviewed and approved by all the principals. I'd like to add that this approval of logos does not pertain to the sports teams, clubs, or their merchandise. While school teams and clubs may use the official logo for their merchandise, they're not limited to it, and the superintendent or the designee, such as the principal, will have the discretion to approve how the logo may be modified for merchandise use. Stop there. Okay, so once approved, once approved, the communications, I'm going to share a Google folder, the NUSD branding toolkit with the leadership team, office managers, and community liaisons, containing the official logos, letterhead templates, and email signature templates. So for the process, when schools are interested in renaming their school logo or imagery. So we've outlined a process of, one, identifying the need for change. Why a change is needed, and to clearly articulate the goals for the new name, logo, and imagery. So involve stakeholders, form a committee with representatives from key groups, and review the input on what the name, logo, or imagery should represent through surveys, focus groups, or meetings. And set guidelines. Establish the criteria for the new name, logo, and/or imagery, such as color, symbols, and style, as well as determining a budget and timeline for the project. Once that is completed, we're asking the school to submit a letter of recommendation to the board for approval that includes the steps taken and the artwork for the proposed name, logo, and/or imagery. And that is the update to this proposal, to this board policy.
Thank you. Questions? Trustee Butler?
Sorry, I didn't ask this ahead of time. This is like also if they want to change their mascot?
Yes.
Okay.
Imagery?
But if they want to go from Hamilton Hawk to a Hamilton Pigeon. That's this policy? That would be changing the name.
Yeah, I think that would be in a different policy, a naming policy.
And I don't
But
know
we can
that
look
we
into
have
that. Yes, we have a naming policy. So we
maps,
can look
changing
into
the-
that. Yeah.
We have a buildings naming policy, which we can look at adding mascot onto. Trustee Pickus?
Just quickly, I appreciate the forethought that around a policy like this, where we have seen schools have conversations around naming and just visuals, and I just appreciate that we're putting systems in place to make sure that we have a process if that arises.
Thank you. Great. If I don't see any other questions, is this final or does it come back on consent secondarily? Final.
I believe it was final.
Thank you. Okay, just want to make sure I said it properly. So we are asking for approval for this board policy. If any trustee would like to make that motion. Trustee Pickus, thank you. And a second by Trustee Mack. All in favor? We have 7 plus 1 student trustee. Not opposed. Thank you. And we'll bring back a mascot add-on to the naming process. Next up, 13E. This is the review and approval of board policies in the 3000 series.
Yeah, so this, excuse me, this board policy is one that we already have. It was updated with some law changes and some code regulations. However, it is a first read of the administrative regulation, the AR. That never existed before. So, of course, the administrative regulation is just how is admin supposed to interact with the board policy. So there is now an AR that specifically lays out the process and the ways that we would interact as administration with the sale or lease of district-owned real property, which is, of course, very timely with us looking at staff housing. And so, of course, I'll take any questions on, this is a first read, so it will come back on consent if there are no changes.
Thank you for that clarification. Any questions? Okay, we're looking for approval with a secondary approval and consent at a future meeting. Trustee Pickus, thank you for your first, and a second by Trustee Butler. Thank you. All those in favor? 7 plus 1. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is 13F. This is brought to us by Superintendent Smith. This is the approval of resolution number 2425, adopting a conflict of interest code.
All right, and we're asking you to adopt this tonight for a resolution that pertains to all of us at this table, except for Danya. Not yet, Danya, one day. And so this is about conflict of interest, and it's all around the form 700 that we all fill out. There were some changes in policy that included like certain administrators not having to fill it out anymore. And so we wanted to get that clarified in this resolution. It's been a while since we have adopted a resolution as a board here in Novato, and so we wanted to bring it back in order to make sure the resolution was as updated as possible, even though this wouldn't be something that we have to continue to bring back, maybe every 20 years or so.
Okay, this is a roll call vote. I do need a first and second still. Trustee Lametta, thank you, with a first. And a second by Trustee Alexander. Thank you. Trustee Alexander.
Aye.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Gasson.
Aye.
Trustee Jacobson, aye. Trustee Lametta.
Aye.
Trustee Mack.
Aye.
Trustee Pickus.
Aye.
Thank you. Next up, we have Francesca Whitcomb back up. This is item 13G. This is the approval of resolution number 15, 2425, approving the NUSD certificated seniority list.
Great. Hello again. So these next two items, actually both, it's something that's brought forward annually, about this time every year. This first item I'm bringing is the certificated seniority list. It includes all of our certificated either probationary or permanent staff. And the list that you're seeing before you is by date. So it's listing the most senior people in the district first. This list in draft form is always disseminated to our bargaining unit members, and they're given the opportunity to review it, ask any questions of my staff, bring up any questions or things that they may think may need to be updated, especially about their credential and things like that. So it is an important piece in our process when and if we come to the point of making any reductions in staffing, because everything is done in light of this document in terms of who has the most seniority in the district.
And I'll just add, this is an annual item that we see. Questions? Okay, this is a roll call vote as well, but we have Trustee Mack with a first and a second by Trustee Pickus. Thank you. You will dive into it. Trustee Alexander.
Aye.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Gasson.
Aye.
Trustee Jacobson, aye. Trustee Lametta.
Aye.
Trustee Mack.
Aye.
Trustee Pickus.
Aye.
Thank you. And we have the same for our certificated staff. No, for our classified, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. All right, yeah, and as with the certificated, this is the list of our classified staff by classification. And the classified bargaining unit here in Novato, they actually have contractually 30 days to, it's actually called out, the time frame that they have to review the document, and that's why the timing is such where we're bringing both of these forward at this meeting. So they had their contractual time to review. Again, they bring forward questions or things they might want us to look at in terms of adjustments or corrections. And that period has passed. And so this is the list. Again, should we need to have any classified employee reductions, this is the list that we refer to in terms of the rights of any of those employees.
Okay, again, this is a roll call vote. Any questions, comments? Okay, can I please have a first? Trustee Alexander, thank you. And a second by Trustee Gasson, thank you. Trustee Alexander.
Aye.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Gasson.
Aye.
Trustee Jacobson, aye. Trustee Lametta.
Aye.
Trustee Mack.
Aye.
Trustee Pickus.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our meeting. We have a special meeting on February 10th and our next regular meeting on February 11th. We will see you then.